He done broke. Man, listen, nobody gets in this neighborhood. If you ain't from this neighborhood, listen, man, listen, no, man.
Okay, so you're the business guy, right?
100%.
Okay, so part of the way this works is the same way it works in business. If you're a really good businessman, you know you're good at what you do. You don't have to sell as hard.
Correct.
Because if you're in there saying, you know, I've got this, and you start asking me 100 questions, eventually I'm going to say, hey, man, he's interested too. So the main thing that got me moving further is telling you no. Hey, man, I'll tell you what, just forget about it. And then it's all good. I'll move on, and then me and C-Dub will do some work. And then you see that me and C-Dub are doing work, and then you see me and CT are doing some work, and all of a sudden you're like, so what's up? I kind of been seeing you around a bunch or whatever, because all these fools over here are making money.
Ain't nobody ever asked you like, yo, fam, where you come from?
Oh, they asked me, of course. I mean, I got the inquisition at the beginning, but if you are, let's say you're in my role, and you go down there and you say, man, I'm just trying to hook this cat up, just do a little deals, whatever, helping them out. And they say, what does your driver say on your driver's license? Where do you live? You know, how many years you've been living it? How many of those questions would you answer?
Well, my thing is
0.
no. My thing is always, because listen, anybody I do business with, I've been to their house too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I done been to your city, you done been to my city. Like, eventually, we gonna have to know each other, especially when we spending that amount of money. Like, it's too many ways and be able to identify the red flags, bro.
He got to know all of them.
But it gotta be greed. It gotta be
That's
pure
where I was coming in.
greed, bro.
That's
what
where I
I'm
was
saying.
finna take
It's
you
gotta
to,
be
Twan.
pure greed,
It was
'cause it
pure
can't-
greed.
I can't overlook, because all you gotta do, you gotta be wrong once. And I can spot it.
Yep.
I'ma find it. I'ma find the red flag, and then
Well,
it's gonna
I-
gnaw at
well,
me when I'm sleeping at night,
when
and I'm gonna
he-
wake up and I'm gonna be like, man, I
when
feel
he
a certain
just
type of way,
said
bro.
on his day off, he would go down there knowing that you wouldn't be there to play Madden. Well, guess what? All of them greedy. The real greedy ones is gonna bring him in. They're gonna overlook all the red flags, that everything inside of him, saying, man, it might be a cop, out of greed. If you know the conditions, man, the conditions is pretty horrible and extreme, right? So,
Well, also, Tegan, I think that you could quite possibly listen. I thought that Charleston was the craziest person that I've ever met in my entire
I
life.
think he crazier.
T gotta be the craziest
be
person
crazy.
I've ever met in my entire
gotta be
life.
crazy.
Bro,
Past tense.
listen.
I'm old now, so it's past tense, brother.
Bro, listen. When you get done picking up your balls and carrying them over to your hotel room, because you got to be the craziest person I ever met to feel comfortable enough or to have the balls to even go into this thing, or to even come up with this idea in the first. Most police officers I know,
With no backup.
They go into it, and correct me if I'm wrong, they go into it with the right intention, or you know what, I want to make a difference or whatever. Then they turn into doing it for a paycheck, or they turn into doing it in order to survive.
Sure.
How did you even keep that same enthusiasm to even want to continue to do that thing, and it not just be about the paycheck, or it not be about the promotion?
Yeah, there's no promotions really attached to doing stuff like this, honestly. And some departments are in my PD type thing, you get some kind of act of valor or something, might get some kind of promotion.
I know
This is
quite a
all
few
about-
that did.
Yeah, you'd have to just test your way up, regardless, whoever you are. But honestly, when this started, I really did have the neighborhood in mind, the good people that were there, because it was my job. Yes, I'm doing my job, and I'm making the best out of my job to where I feel like I'm doing something meaningful. When this thing started really turning out, it was like jumping out of an airplane. So once you've done jumped, you got to figure it out. There's no, well, maybe we shouldn't do this after all. I mean, I've already got people involved in it. You're buying stuff, and I'm calling ahead. There's all kinds of stuff that's out there.
At what point does it transition from being just local to actually you having to pull in the FBI? Like, what was the light bulb moment from your department or from your boss?
I shopped it. I actually went to my boss and said, man, I can only get away with, spending $3,000 so much longer. because people are going to start asking, even though they know me, they're going to start asking, what's the deal? I thought you were like a player. So what's the deal? And I shopped it to a few, but some of the other entities just wanted to take over. The DEA was like, cool, this is, we think you have a good case, we'll put our guy in there. And I was like, man, no. I mean, I don't trust somebody else to come in, and I'm not going to go introduce some dude and everything else. It's already risky the way I'm doing it, but at least I have control of my own environment because I'm doing it the way I want to do it. So the FBI essentially had an agent that they were willing to assign to me, but she was working on some kind of meth case at the time. So they assigned me to her, but she was still in trials for the first 3 months that I had. So she was accessing me tons of money and resources, but wasn't there. And then, of course, at that point, then my boss at the Fort Worth PD thinks, now you're working with the FBI. And the FBI is like, cool, you can just lean on your boss until I get done with this case, but I can help you with these resources. So then I'm really off the books because nobody knows where the hell I'm going at any given time.
That says a lot about who you are, because throughout all of this, you pretty much, not pretty much, you kept ethical behavior. Not many complaints or paperwork is documented that you was operating as an unethical officer.
Yeah.
To make such an arrest.
Well, I look, by the end, like I said, a lot of these cats I considered friends, and all in my mind, look, I'm a rookie when it comes to putting together this giant conspiracy case, and all of a sudden I've got this thing at my disposal. And the U.S. attorney had said it's time to wrap it up, and we had to start doing roundups and everything else. So all I did was think, oh, man, there's this guy and there's this guy. They're going to talk because I'll tell them, man, I'll back you up. I'll testify on your behalf. I know you're a good kid. I know you can make it. And I was thinking all this was going to work out.
So how did you get to determine from playing video games with them? Was y'all hanging out like that? Did you go to the houses? Did you spend holidays?
Well, hold on. Before you even get to that, though, see, this is the thing that I'm really. So, like, did you have a family? Was you married? Did you have kids? What was that like?
That was, you do heat runs when you're in the game. Well, I was doing heat runs to work and from work, but I was essentially leaving my house and heat running all the way over to the hood and then doing the same to get home. But nobody came to my house except on one occasion. I actually had a house that we had picked out. We used to go just randomly look at houses just for fun. You see some kind of crazy house for sale, whatever, we go look at it, pretend like we're buyers. And we thought it was kind of funny. So there was a multi-million-dollar house on the street that I knew that was totally unoccupied because we'd looked at it. And the one time that I had to drive a cat over there, I had him put his head down, toward the floorboard and pulled up to this joint and went in through the back gate. Didn't even really go in the house. I had him waiting in the car, and he was about flabbergasted. But most of these other cats, some were dealing out of the place where they lay their head, but as a practice, that's not really how people do it. Mm-hmm. So it really wasn't about, hey man, is this your crib or is this your not? Now, there were some cats at a level where, I was at their crib, but they really didn't. I was at that point doing stuff that only they could supply.